Hello, Miss S. I just wanted to do a movie recording for um, my interactive notebook because I thought it would be easiest. So I'm just going to show this on here, and hopefully you can get the gist. I'm at my school in a empty classroom right now, so just in case you're wondering. But anyways, so here's my interactive notebook, and I have our rubric on the first page. It's kind of hard to see. And then right here, I have my table of contents, and I have everything that you put on the strategy notebook updates. I added begin with the end in 4Ms on page 4 and 5 because on Blackboard you said to skip those pages, so I just put in two strategies that I really liked. And the first page is KWL, and this is the no. The second part is what we want to know, and then what we have learned. On page 4, I put begin with the end, which is to progress from unit planning to lesson planning, and that was one of my favorite techniques because to me lesson planning can be complicated, but if you do units and then go from there and base your activities around your lessons, then that's a way to simplify it and make it all make sense. Here is the 4Ms, which is the criteria to writing an effective lesson plan to make it manageable, measurable, made first, and most important. Page 6, I have threshold, which is to meet your students at the door, setting expectations before they even enter the classroom, which starts their day off on the right track and just sets the tone for the day. I have do now, which is a short warm-up activity that students can complete without instruction from me. And to me, this reminds me of a bell ringer. I also saw that you could do an exit ticket like this. Because I guess an exit ticket is a do now. It's just not at the beginning of class, kind of how I think. But it's a good strategy. On page 8, I have name the steps. This is actually from one of the girls' lessons because I thought she did a really good job, so I just put it in here. And you know that name the steps is when the students demonstrate understanding by naming the steps at the end of a 20-minute lesson by discussing and identifying the 3 components. Then on this next part, it is board equals paper, which was actually from my presentation that I did, and that was when what you write on the board you want to be transferred onto their paper, and you can do skeleton notes and all kinds of stuff to teach kids how to take notes well. Then on page 10, I have Control the Game, which was Michaelin's, and she did a really good job where, you just read part of the page, or you have someone else read it, and then you stop them and keep going to keep kids' attention. And you have Circulate, which is when you strategically walk around the room, and I think strategic is an important word in that because, you can't just walk around the room, and you have to, make eye contact. And one of my favorite parts I read in the book was about dot round, where you give students independent work and then you go and dot their paper if you notice mistakes, so that way they know it's wrong, but you're not embarrassing them, but you're still engaging too. I have at bats on page 12, which is repetition, practice makes perfect. Exit ticket on page 13, pretty self-explanatory, and I thought one of the more important parts in this is that it is designed to give specific data. Like, I need to word it in a way to where I know specifically what they do or do not understand. On page 14, I have no opt-out, which means I don't know is not an answer. Like, that's not acceptable, and if they don't know, that's okay, but not trying is not okay. And like, if I say, what is 8 times 3? And the kid says, I don't know, and they're just disrespectful about it, then I can ask the student next to them, what is 8 times 3? And they'll say 24, and then I'll say, okay, back to the original student, so what is 8 times 3? And then on page 15, I did this myself just because I actually used this as a notebook. This is my notes for my uh, English language arts competency lesson that I did with Mandy and Cindy. And I take a lot of notes. So I did like 5 pages on it just because I kind of have to write things out to get my idea. And then I took notes on some of our Zoom meetings just to help me keep track and go back if I wanted to. So that was the rest of it. And then I have all of this free space. And I plan on using it for test prep for my PPR and content exam just because I want to use the binder and it already has useful information in here. And then I can actually take this into my classroom and have the techniques and some notes that I use to study for the test. So that's my spiral notebook, and I'll gonna upload this to YouTube and give you the link. So I hope that this was what you're looking for, and I really like this notebook. I think it's gonna be a great resource. So thanks.